Today we are going to discuss concept of residential status, section 6 in the light of residential status, different taxable entities and some probable questions over here. Let's see residential status or the meaning of residential status. It's a process of determining the status of an SEZ or taxpayer. In other words, whether an SEZ is resident or not is determined on the basis of number of days he or she spent in India in the previous year. Section 6 of Income Tax Act 1961 deals with different taxable entities such as an individual, a half, that is Hindu undivided family, a firm or an association of person or body of individuals, then a company, and finally every other person. Now let's see an individual. The residential status of an individual may be of three types, such as resident and ordinarily resident in India. Number 2, resident but not ordinarily resident in India, and non-resident. Now let's see the determination of residential status of an individual. Now, an individual will be resident and ordinarily resident in India if he or she has satisfied any of the basic conditions and both of the additional conditions. That means any one of basic conditions along with both of the additional conditions. An individual will be resident but not ordinarily resident in India if he or she satisfies any one of the basic conditions and one or none of the additional conditions. And non-resident will be if he or she satisfies none of the basic conditions. Now let's see the conditions. The basic conditions mentioned under section 6 subsection 1 small a, he is in India in the previous year for a period of 182 days or more. Small b, he is in India for a period of 60 days or more during the previous year and 365 days or more during 4 years immediately preceding the previous year. The additional conditions under section 6 subsection 6 are Roman 1, he has been resident in India in at least 2 out of 10 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. Roman 2, he has been in India for a period of 730 days or more during 7 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. In this regard, we may keep in our mind some exceptions. Exception 1, basic condition under section 6 subsection 1 subsection small b is not applicable for an Indian citizen who leaves India for the purpose of employment and a person of Indian origin who lives outside India but comes to a visit to India. Exception 2. Even an individual satisfies none of the basic conditions, he is deemed to be a resident but not ordinarily resident in India if he satisfies all of the following three conditions given by section 6 subsection 1 capital A. Small a, he is an Indian citizen. Small b, his total income other than the income from foreign sources exceeds rupees 15 lakhs during the relevant previous year. Small c, he is not liable to pay tax in any other country or territory by reason of his domicile or residence or any other criteria of similar nature. Exception 3. Even an individual satisfies none of the basic conditions, he is deemed to be a resident but not ordinarily resident in India if he satisfies the following four conditions given by section 6 subsection 6 subsection small c. The four conditions are: a, he is an Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin. B, his total income other than the income from foreign sources exceeds rupees 15 lakhs. C, he is not liable to pay tax in any other country or territory by reason of his domicile. D, he is in India for 120 days or more but less than 182 days during the relevant previous year and 365 days or more in 4 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. Here, Mr. Roy, an individual in the previous year, was in India for 182 days and left India for the first time. We need to determine his residential status for the assessment year 2025-26. The table showing Mr. Roy present in India. In the previous year 2024-25, he was in India 182 days. So he is resident in the previous year 2024-25. In this way, Mr. Roy 2023-24 was in India 365 days. So in that previous year also he is resident. In this way, 2020-21, 2019-20, 2018-19, 2017-18, 2016-17, 2015-16, 2014-15, he was in resident. He was resident in India. He was resident in India. So, as Mr. Roy was in India in the previous year for a period of 182 days or more, basic condition mentioned under section 6 subsection 1 is satisfied. So, he is a resident in India. Now, we have to find out whether he is ordinarily resident or not. In this case, he has been a resident in India in at least 2 out of 10 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. And he has been in India for a period of 730 days or more during 7 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. So, Mr. Roy is a resident and ordinary resident in India for the assessment year 2025-26. Now, let's see another case study. Here, Dr. Sadrak, a foreign citizen, comes to visit India For the first time on June 15, 2018, during the financial year 2018-19, 2019-20, 2020-21, 2021-22, 2022-23, 2023-24 and 2024-25, he present in India for 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140 and 160 days respectively. Now, we need to compute his residential status for the assessment year 2025-26. Here, as per the question, during the previous year 2024-25, Dr. Sadrak present in India for a period of 160 days, and in the preceding 4 previous years he was present in India for a period of 500 days, that is 140 plus 130 plus 120 plus 110. Therefore, Dr. Sadrak satisfies one of the basic conditions, that is 60 days or more during the previous year and 365 days or more during the 4 years preceding the relevant previous year. Further, Dr. Sadrak was resident in India in at least 2 out of 10 previous years, but he was also not present in India for 730 days or more during the 7 previous years. So, he fails to fulfill one of the additional conditions mentioned under section 6 subsection 6. Therefore, Dr. Sadrak would be considered as a resident but not ordinarily resident for the assessment year 2025-26. Now, let's see for Hindu undivided family. The residential status of a Hindu undivided family may be of 3 types, such as resident and ordinarily resident in India, resident but not ordinarily resident in India, and non-resident. Here, to determine residential status of half, that is Hindu undivided family, are mentioned over here. Let's see the residential status of Hindu undivided family. Here, to be resident and ordinarily resident in India, the basic condition has to be satisfied by half, and both the additional conditions have to be satisfied by the Karta. Then, to be resident but not ordinarily resident in India, the basic condition has to be satisfied by half, and one or none of the additional conditions is required to be satisfied. So, to be resident but not ordinarily resident in India, here basic condition is important. It must be satisfied, and for non-resident, the basic condition is not required. Practically none of the condition is to be satisfied over here. So, in case of non-resident, the basic condition has not been satisfied by the half. Now let's see the conditions over here. Basic conditions under section 6 subsection 2. The affairs of the half are controlled and managed fully or partly from India. And the additional conditions mentioned under section 6 subsection B are Roman 1. Karta has been resident in India in at least 2 out of 10 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. Roman 2. Karta has been present in India for a period of 730 days or more during 7 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. Now, let's see an example. Here Mr. Roy starts a Hindu undivided family business with his wife, son and daughter. The half is controlled by Mr. Roy, who is a resident in India in 4 out of 10 years preceding the relevant previous year, and he is present in India more than 730 days in the last 7 years. We need to determine the residential status of the half for the assessment year 2025-26 for the following situations. Here, in situation 1, the half was not controlled and managed from India. In situation 2, the half was controlled and managed fully or partly from India. Now, let's see the status of the half. Here, for situation 1, the half was not controlled and managed from India. So, in that case, the half is non-resident under section 6 subsection 2. And in case of the half was controlled and managed fully or partly from India, we need to verify whether the basic condition is satisfied or not. As the half was controlled and managed fully or partly from India, the basic condition laid down under section 6 subsection 2 is satisfied. So the half is resident. Then we need to verify whether the additional conditions are satisfied or not. In this case, Mr. Roy, the Karta of the half, was resident in India in 4 out of 10 previous years preceding the relevant previous year, and he was present in India more than 730 days in the last 7 and he was present in India more than 730 days in the last 7 previous years preceding the relevant previous year. So the half is resident and ordinarily resident in India for the assessment year 2025-26 as basic along with both the additional conditions are satisfied. Let's see another example. Let's see another example. Here Mr. Basu is the Karta of a half. The control and management of the affairs is wholly located in India. Mr. Basu has not gone out of India any time before. On 30th April 2024, he went to Hong Kong for a business project and did not return till 31st March 2025. Now, we need to determine the residential status of the half for the assessment year 2025-26. Here, as per section 6 subsection 2, a half would be considered as resident in India if the control and management of its affairs is wholly or partly situated in India. And as per section 6 subsection B, a half would be considered as resident and ordinarily resident in India if the Karta is resident in India at least 2 out of 10 previous years preceding the relevant previous year, and the Karta present in India for a period of 730 days or more during 7 previous years preceding the relevant previous year. Here, basic condition under section 6 subsection 2 is satisfied, as the half was controlled and managed from India. So the firm is resident. Now we need to determine whether ordinarily resident or not. Mr. Basu present in India. The table showing Mr. Basu present in India. In the previous year 2024-25, Mr. Basu was present in India 0 days. So in the previous year he is non-resident. The other previous years are shown over here. As per the question, the half and its Karta has fulfilled all the conditions. So the half would be considered as resident and ordinarily resident in India for the assessment year 2025-26. A firm or AOP or body of individuals. In this situation, the residential status of a firm or AOP or body of individuals may also be in two types, such as resident and non-resident. Such as resident and non-resident. A firm or AOP or body of individuals may be resident if the affairs of the firm or association are controlled and managed fully or partly from India. Then it is resident. Or in case of non-resident, the affairs of the firm or association are not controlled and managed from India. Now, let's see an example. Here, Messrs. Good Luck is a partnership firm at Madhamgram. It deals with groceries. It has 10 partners. Now, we need to determine the residential status of Messrs. Good Luck for the assessment year 2025-26 for the following situations. Situation 1, if the firm is controlled and managed fully or partly from India. Situation 2, if the firm is not controlled and managed from India. Here, statement showing the computation of residential status of Messrs. Good Luck for the assessment year 2025-26. For situation 1, when the affairs of the firm are controlled and managed fully or partly from India, the firm is resident. And in case of the affairs of the firm are not controlled and managed from India, it is non-resident. Now, let's see a company. In case of company, the residential status may also be of two types, such as resident and non-resident. Regarding resident, section 6 subsection 3 subsection Roman 1 indicates that an Indian company is always a resident in India. Section 6 subsection 3 subsection Roman 2, a foreign company having turnover greater than 50 crore is resident in India if its place of effective management is in India. So here, place of effective management is important. In case of a foreign company having turnover less than equal to 50 crore is always a non-resident in India. Now, let's see an example. Here, Sunshine Limited is a company having a turnover of rupees greater than 50 crore and its place of effective management is in India. It has 20 shareholders who belong from foreign and non-resident in India. Now, we need to determine the residential status of Sunshine Limited for the assessment year 2025-26 for the following situations. Situation 1, if it is an Indian company. Situation 2, if it is a foreign company. Here, under section 6 subsection 3 subsection Roman 2, an Indian company will always be a resident in India, and this rule is even equally applicable if shareholders are foreign citizen as well as non-resident, or even if business is controlled from a place outside India. So, Sunshine Limited is a resident in India as it is an Indian company. And for situation 2, if it is a foreign company having turnover greater than 50 crore is resident in India if its place of effective management is in India. So, in case of Sunshine Limited, the place of effective management was in India, so it is a resident in India. Now let's see residential status of every other person mentioned under section 6 subsection 4. Here, the category of every other person may also be of two types, like resident and non-resident. In case of resident, the affairs of every other person are controlled and managed fully or partly from India. But in case of non-resident, the affairs of every other person are not controlled and managed from India. So, controlled and managed are important over here. Let's see an example. Here, Sunshine Global University deals with advanced research in medical science. its place of effective management is in India. We need to determine the residential status of Sunshine Global University for the assessment year 2025-26. So, as place of effective management of Sunshine Global University is in India, it is a resident in India under section 6 subsection 4 for the assessment year 2025-26. So in concluding remarks, we may mention that determining residential status is an important part of computing income. Income arises in India is taxable in India whether the person is resident or not. On the other hand, abroad income of a person is taxable in India if the person is resident in India. But if the person is non-resident, then the foreign income of an individual is not taxable in India. These are some probable questions may be asked, like, what do you mean by residential status? Discuss section 6 in the light of residential status. The question even may be, what are the basic conditions mentioned in section 6 subsection 1 under Income Tax Act 1961? Multiple choice question may also be asked over here. For an example, we may mention an individual may be option A, ordinarily resident, option B, not ordinarily resident, option C, non-resident, and option D, all of the above. The right option, all of the above. These are some references. You may go for further reading or for enhancing your knowledge, like you may go for Direct Taxes, Law and Practice, written by Singhania and Singhania, publication Taxman. You may go for Student's Guide to Income Tax, written by Singhania and Singhania, and publication Taxman. You can go for Systematic Approach to Income Tax, written by Ahuja and Gupta, publisher Bharat. You may go for Direct and Indirect Tax, written by Bhadra and Satpathy, publication Disari. Even you may go for Income Tax Act 1961 and Income Tax Rules 1962. Namaskar.